of the next 7-year cycle. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. And we have the summer solstice, which is a big change anyways. So with all that mixed together and everyone's emotions and how crazy everything has been, it can definitely affect our energy and how we see things and view things and how things are going on around us. Not only between us, but between people in our lives and different people that are affecting us. So I'm just going to try to move this. So I'm sitting outside, obviously. Sun's beating down on my face a little bit. So the main thing is the 7-year cycle that everybody's talking about, that everyone's going through right now, has to do with this new beginnings and these new things that we've started. So if you think about it, over the last 7 years, what has happened in your life? So what has been like the big change? What has come into your life? What has left your life? That's kind of mainly where things are going. So if you look at everything I've gone through, for instance, in the last 7 years, I have gone through a bad relationship, I've gone through a divorce, and I've also met the love of my life and got remarried. So within this 7 years does not mean that everything's going to be a bad cycle or like, oh no, here we go again, things are going to get crazy. There can be a lot of good too, a lot of heartbreak and a lot of good. So that's kind of the main thing that I wanted to talk about is when you're starting over your 7-year cycle, you're starting a lot of good and a lot of new, right? So it's basically the universe trying to push you and be like, hey, we're starting over. So whatever is not suiting you or whatever is not best in your life at this time, it's time to get rid of it. It's time to step away and see like what changes you can make and what's going to be good for you in your situation, whether it has to do with just you or it has to do with someone you're dating, or it has to do with someone you're married to, or it has to do with your children, or sometimes it even has to do with loss, like complete loss that you don't know how to get over, and we don't know how to get up the next day and breathe. So I mean that's the biggest thing, is learning how we can overcome that and knowing that you're not the only one, that there's other people as well that are going through this. And I apologize for those of you, the connection's kind of going in and out. So you can always go back and watch it live if you're missing part of this. But that's the big deal. And that's what I want everything to know, is there are such things as new beginnings and new starts. And everything isn't always perfect. Nothing is perfect for anyone in any situation. But it's something that we can get through. So the new beginning of the 7-year cycle is a good thing. Trust me. That's something that we want. And that's something we've all been waiting to start over. So with the solar flares on top of all this, so you have all this other craziness going on, and you have new beginnings, and you have big change that's, we're not just talking like, well, you know, I got a new job. Like that for some people is a big change, but for other people it's loss and hurt, or moving out of state, or starting a new business. You know, these can be really big things too, or things that we're scared of that we are meant to do. So keep in mind that this is the time to do that this is a good thing. So with the solar flares, with the summer solstice, you have to remember that not only are our own energies changing, which helps us with these new beginnings, right? And helps us to get into this mindset of where you're going with your life and the kind of people that you want to hang around, right? Sometimes you're friends with people, and the misconception is a lot of people think that you have to be with those people forever. Those people will always be a part of your life. Hi, sweetheart. But that's not true. People come and go in our lives when we need them, or they come and go in our lives during certain situations where they're meant to be there. It doesn't mean they're always going to stay, and it doesn't mean that people have to be bitter about it or carry resentment towards it. Do you know what I'm saying? So if there's somebody that's been in your life recently and it just doesn't make sense, or they don't have your highest good in mind, it is okay to step away. It is okay to say, okay, like, I'm going to love you from a distance. And that sometimes has to do with family too. It all depends on your own situation, and you have to do what's best for you, and you have to do what's best for your kids or your husband, or, you want to support each other. And each situation is so different and so individual that you can't always pinpoint someone else's story to yours. We just learn from situations we're in. But know that each experience is very much unique to you. So, energies have been up, right? People have been taking people out of their lives. People are bringing people into their lives. A lot of right now also has to do with the unveiling of a mask, right? Almost like you knew this specific person and you thought you knew them really well, and you thought like this was someone like, oh, this is cool, maybe I'll hang out with them, and then they turned out to be someone completely different, right? And unfortunately that happens like super often, like more often than it should, which is pretty sad, but that's okay. That's what's supposed to be happening. And it all has to do with, like I said, the timing of what's going on in our life and the situation that we're in. So know that if you've been in that situation where you feel like that this person has betrayed you, or like they've taken off a mask, or you thought they were one person but they actually turned out to be another, that's okay. And it's okay to step back and be like, this may not be like the best situation for me, because it's happening for a reason. But you don't need to keep those people in your lives. Does that make any sense? You just have to let the energies flow how they're going to go. And I totally didn't even need to rhyme that right now. That's funny. You just have to let things be, right? And know that whether someone's just coming into your life and it's new and exciting, or you meet someone and they click with you instantly and you know that they're always going to be friends with you, that's awesome. But it doesn't have to be lifelong. Sometimes people are meant to be with us for a month. Sometimes people are meant for us for 2 months, but you don't have to support and stay in a decision or a friendship that doesn't boost you. I know it's hard. And I'm glad that this is helping with some of you, or even resonating with maybe the situation you're in. Know it's like collectively as a universe right now that everyone's going through this. I've even gone through this. I mean, this is just something about how the energies are right now. So I guess more than anything, want you to know that you're not alone in how you're feeling. And it's not your job to make these decisions for these people, right? Even if you think that it's not a good one, or even if you think that you would do things differently, you have to let that person live that truth that they're wanting to live, whether it's good or bad, because it's essentially not our lesson to learn. It's just part of the phase that we were in. But know that that's normal, and know that people are changing, and sometimes if they step out of our lives for that reason, that's okay. It's okay. Exactly, Ashley. Ashley said some people are in our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that's exactly true. There's some people that I've been friends with since kindergarten. Sometimes, we'll literally go like 8 months before we're like, hey, how's it going? How are things doing? That doesn't mean I'm meant to speak to them every single day. Sometimes you just have those people in your life. And other times you meet someone 2 months ago, you think they're going to be an amazing person, an amazing friend, and then all of a sudden they just kind of completely change who they were, right? That just means that you just needed them for that time, or you were meant in each other's lives for that time for a reason. but then it's time to move on and kind of step forward. So just be okay with the fact that if it wasn't meant to happen that way, it wouldn't. Does that make sense? And a lot of what the energy is up, a lot of people have been saying they've been getting more kind of like migraines. Some people feel through their stomach, Sam. Some people feel through their head. So it's very different on how we carry the energy or the stress. Women carry a lot of it, right? Kind of back below here, right below their shoulders. So they can get kind of like where their shoulders or back hurts because we have stress pockets back there. So know that that's normal. And if you need to do an energy healing to release some of that, that's good. If you know someone who does that, have them release those stress pockets and pull everything out of there. If you need to get a hold of me and have me do it for you, I'd be more than happy to. We can do distance one, or I can come to you. So it all just depends on like your own specific needs. Hi, Lisa. So you just have to not place that blame on yourself. Like, what did I do to make this person leave? Or why did they change? Was it something I did? Was it something, it's very easy now for us to blame ourselves or assume it was something we did, when in reality, everything's happening for a reason, and you just have to let those things sometimes play out. Sometimes they're going to come back. Sometimes you'll never see them again. It's just part of evolving and growing and going along that path that we're supposed to be in. So just know that you're not alone. The energy's crazy right now. Things are calming down a little bit. I'm sure you've noticed it's not as bad as it was last week. Last week was pretty brutal, I think, for everyone. But with all the change and with the newness, just even the last 7 years, and sitting and just thinking today, okay, what has happened in the last 7 years, right? So we're in 2019. What was going on around 2012, 2011, leading up to the last 7 years, and then beyond then? What has happened? What's changed in your life? What's evolved? I'm sure there's been like huge things that have happened. I'm sure there's been like horribly sad things that have happened and like life altering. So the good news is we're starting over. Is it going to be good for 7 years straight? No, because there's no such thing, right? No one has the perfect life. No one lives through the perfect day-to-day basis. Everybody has struggles they go through, but it's all about how you deal with it and waking up the next day and being like, I got it today. Yesterday was horrible. Yesterday sucked. I wish I could do it over. You can. Today's that new day. So just try to remember that. And know that you're not alone, and the energies are crazy and they're going to calm down. But it just, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and it takes processing from us and accepting, especially if it's someone that's been in your life for a really long time, or someone you thought was your best friend, or someone that you thought you were in love with. That's takes a lot of hurt. And believe it or not, someone that you think is your best friend, and you have, like, let's say you have a falling out and you don't speak anymore, that's just as bad as a breakup, right? A lot of people are really close, but you have to understand that whatever their path is right now, or whatever your path is right now, isn't meshing the way it was before. So you just have to give each other that space. And if you're meant to come back together and have that relationship, you will. So hopefully that kind of hits home and makes some sense to you guys. And I wanted to pop in, so you're all normal in what you're feeling. Know that it is okay to feel. It's okay to go through these emotions. What's not okay is to live in that and be sad every single day. Just try to find one good thing, right? And that's what I always tell my clients. Find one good thing every day, even if it's something tiny. Even if you're just like, I woke up this morning and I thought it was going to be an awful day, but I sat down and I had a cup of coffee and my dog sat on my lap and I just felt relaxed. If that's your good thing that day, perfect. You found something. So it doesn't always have to be this huge deal, right? Things can be small, and things that we're grateful for can be small things as long as they mean something to you. So just try to keep that in mind and just find one good thing. So I love you all. I'm getting burnt out here while we're speaking. If you're coming to the museum tonight to do one of the events at Museum of Shadows, I will see you there. If not, we have some events going on this weekend too. There is a food and truck war, where they have all these food trucks come in, and there's beer gardens and music, and that is on Saturday night. I think it's from 5